Alright, again. Like to call this meeting to order. Will you take roll, please?
Mrs. Leskowitz.
Here.
Mrs. Butler.
Here.
Mrs. Donahue.
Here.
Mrs. Kipling.
Here. Jane, will you pledge allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, can I get a motion for the approval of the agenda? I'll make a motion that we accept the agenda. We approve the agenda. One second. Any discussion? You take roll, please.
Mrs. Butler.
Yes.
Mrs. Donahue.
Yes.
Mrs. Kiplinger.
Yes.
Mrs. Leskowitz.
Yes. And there's no participation.
You gotta go to minutes. Need your approval of the minutes.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Can I, my bad. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I'll second. Any discussion? You take a roll, please.
Mrs. Donahue.
Yes.
Mrs. Kiplinger.
Yes.
Mrs. Leskowitz.
Yes.
Mrs. Butler.
Yes.
Okay, we might have.
I should have let you go first.
Julie, you have public participation on the agenda?
Yes.
You're up.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I just got a couple short minutes. So first of all, good evening, thank you for letting me speak. I just wanted to say that originally the polling days were planned to be remote school days for the students. So I'm just wondering who's required to report to work that day. It now seems to be 2 paid days off for the school and 2 days less of education for our students. I get it's state hour requirements and we will still meet those, but I feel like we're shortchanging our kids, especially the elementary students who now sit in an entirely separate building. Wouldn't see why they could not go to school that day and get 2 more days of in-person learning. Second thing is about the buses. I just don't think it looks good to sell 5 buses, which was just like a month or so ago, 2 months maybe, and then turn around and declare an emergency to buy 3 more, especially when the emergency is to have a backup should one of the current buses go out of service. It doesn't seem like very good planning to sell off all the buses that potentially could have been backups. And also for me, so as you guys know, I'm big on the number of students coming here. But I just think this type of spending is concerning to me when there's zero discussion about funding new classrooms for a situation that we know is coming. I mean, what about purchasing a metal structure or adding to the north end of the high school, a couple of classrooms at a time? So just saying as an example, you know, it seems like these kind of things, maybe we could spend the money better. As always, thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Yeah, and I look for participation, now it's the treasurer's report.
Okay, so we'll go through the monthly financial report for the month of August. Right, or yeah, that's where we're at. Okay. So if you can see, everything's sort of still coming in close to what it was last year, but we are seeing some increases in income tax, local taxes, and ODE. So real estate taxes are running flat, little bit of an increase. Public utility is up by 15,000. Interest is up 15,000 over the last 2 months, and state funding's up over $500,000 or 500,000. So, so overall, we're up about 4.48% in revenues. So if you look at expenses, for fiscal year 25. Of course, our salaries have gone up. We've hired, I think it was 11 new teachers, so we had 21 total positions, I think we added to for fiscal year 25. Purchases services has gone up a little bit. And the reason for that is I'm looking at a new way to track in the spending on the ESC so I can report that better. So you're gonna see it a little inflated at this time until we can do a reconciliation with the ESC. They haven't given me all the details yet, so I'm still paying because I have to, it comes out of the foundation payment, but we're gonna get a reconciliation and make sure we know where all those funds are coming from and where they're going. Payroll benefits combined are up from a year ago. We've added medical insurance costs for all the new hires, of course. And last month we had to pay $116,000 to SERS, the School Employees Retirement System, which was a reconciliation payment for fiscal year 24, because we had so many changes and additions that our estimate was a little off. So we had to make that additional payment. So that's why you're going to see benefits a little higher than you're used to seeing. And as I explained, ESC, instructional supply costs are down through August. But overall, current cash is about 11 million, and that's 179 days worth of cash. So that's more cash than we've had in a long time. So that's a good thing. And we have about 2,230,000 in cash that is sitting in the construction account currently. And this is just the general fund report that shows everything that was in the actual presentation I just did. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm not gonna do this in blue anymore. So expenditures are up, but so are receipts, and we still ended the month with a positive cash flow. So that's always good. August is always a good month because that's when you're gonna get all your income, your taxes come in July, and then your income taxes come in July, and then your real estate comes in August. So that won't be the case in November and December, but we're looking good now, so that's a good thing. The bank reconciliation, of course, we balanced, and so good thing. It was a little harder this month because we had pay schools for the first time, where we had to pay the fees and the automatic debit. So it took a little extra to sort of get to the bottom of it, but we did get it done. So, and I did that the wrong way. See, I knew I was going to do it at least once, Rachel. Okay, so August, we had 2 then and nows, which compared to last year this time, we had 8. So better than we did. Still need improvements, but we're doing better than we did. So
It's still just a training thing?
it's still, yeah. Sometimes it's gonna happen. So I expect some throughout the year, but not as many as we've had. But we are looking better, so happy for that. Then there's the detailed check register for August. If you have any questions, let me know. Cert Val, that's pretty much just a fancy way of saying these are our balances at the end or beginning of this year, as far as our cash balances in each one of these wonderful funds. So that goes to the Miami County Auditor to let them know that we had enough money when we finished the year, and we have enough money to start the year. Permanent appropriations, as I explained at the work session, it's not really permanent because we are still taking student activity budgets and things of that nature. But we do have to have this submitted before October 1st. I'm going backwards instead of forwards. The easiest part of this report is the recap, the last page, because it just summarizes everything for you. But it shows you how much we have appropriated, how much we carried over, and what we are expected to spend for the entire year thus far. It's a little under 30 million. We had one certificate of availability, which is is a then and now, but it exceeds my authority. It's 4,140 minus 3,000. This is off by 1 day, 2 days of, one business day really. So 7/29 to 8/1, but still exceeds my authority and requires board approval to get it paid. Just means we had the money, but the PO was put in a little too late. That's all I have unless anybody has any questions.
I just had a question about the paying online with the holiday. Have you noticed that it's done an uptick in fees?
Yeah, we are collecting a little more. I was gonna take a look at the end of this month and see how that's going. I have had a couple comments come from parents that said it was much easier this year than in previous years, so that was good. So yeah, I was gonna take a look and see where we're
Okay.
at compared to where we were last year. I'm hoping that it's increased. I'm seeing some more cash, so
And that holiday goes through October first?
October 31st.
31st, okay.
So you wanna get your fees paid, you can pay
Fee-free.
them all now with your credit card and no fees.
It was nice to do that.
Yeah.
They used to have to write 2 separate checks and then you had to figure out how much for each class and you had to send the check to the kid with the kid and
Mhm.
it was a lot. It was just really nicer just to be able to
Yeah,
pay for everything online and.
What is the fee? Like how much is it like 3% or?
yeah, it's,
Like
I think it's 1.75,
Okay.
2%, something
So-
around there, so.
So people
Yeah,
can
it
save
can
the-
add up, especially for your high school students that have a
Absolutely.
lot of fees.
That's great.
Thank you. Well, so can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda for the treasurer's report?
I'll move.
I'll second. Any discussion? You take a roll, please.
Mrs. Leskowitz,
Yes?
Mrs. Butler,
Yes.
Mrs. Donahue.
Yes.
Mrs. Kiplinger.
Yes.
Now we go on to the superintendent's report.
It's a few things before we get into the rest of the agenda from school safety. I know a lot of that's been on people's minds. Just to reiterate, here at Bethel, we've got 2 SROs in the buildings. We've had patrol cars that circle the facility, if you will. They're always around. We've got cameras inside, the doors are locked. We've got staff is aware of the awareness. So I know that's been a question. I've got a couple emails, a couple phone calls about that, but I just want people to know that we are aware of it. We know what's going on and we assess everything. We walk on it and cause panic at the same time, ensure safety. So that's the goal. So we're in good shape there. Working on the org chart and the staffing list. I know that's come up before. Revamping the org chart along with the staffing list. We're still hiring a few people here and there, but the org chart needs to be restructured. We all need to have that. They need to have that. So they know who reports to who. So we're doing that. I talked last week about, if you hear anybody talking about 6th graders walking to school differently inside the classroom, they are going to be coming up to the old building by my office, up the steps, across the hall, down to get the other wing. We've sealed off the basement, the downstairs. It's just not a good idea for kids to be outside in the winter, the rain, security, safety. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why. And I know it's probably not ideal, but I don't want those kids outside. If you've ever watched 6th graders change classes and try looking at boards and everything else, it's not a pretty sight sometimes. They're dropping things and I just don't want them outside, right? But just at the end of the day, it's better to keep them in the building for a ton of reasons. So that'll be a little different. It'll be a little noisier upstairs every once in a while.
It'll feel like a school.
So, yeah, there was the YMCA. You asked last week about the YMCA. YMCA is actually working very well. I talked to the elementary. They do the before and after school care. And we used to call it latchkey, but it's before and after school care now. And they stick around and they help the kids at lunch and things like that. So
Okay, good.
you'd ask that question. So yeah, they're impressed. They like it. So going well. Report card came out. Here's all the report card data that we can talk about. But I think at the end of the day, we're 4 out of 5. Sorry, on our rating. We went up in progress, we stayed the same in achievement, closing the gap, graduation, and we stayed with them, we went up one in early literacy. So I think, if you look at that, from a performance, from achievement standpoint and performance index, obviously we use this to drive some of our decisions forward, increase academic achievement, that's what it's about. But when you take the performance index score, you divide it by the maximum, you got 82.1, that's our basic PI. So, the achievement is good, we've got room to grow and we'll focus on that. Take the victories, but we can always get better. Just the financial data, just, some people are curious. We spend 86.68 per pupil to educate. State average is 12,396. So, you want to talk about the spending per pupil and, big frugal, we do a nice job, and Bethel's among the 20% of public districts and lowest operating expenses per pupil in the state. So one of the things we want to work on though is we want to be the top 20% academic achievement. Correlations or not, but that's the information. So we'll continue to drive that. But
So the cost per pupil, does that come from like curriculum, how much we spend on curriculum, how much?
Yeah.
Is that how we get to the? per
it's
pupil
everything involved that we spend educating, salaries, curriculum, technology, it's a formula. But yeah, there's a lot of, it's good information to have. And like I said, we will use it to drive what we do, make some decisions, but it wasn't bad. It was pretty good overall. So that's that. And also want the board and the community that the earned income tax will not be on the ballot this time.
I just want to say our staff is doing a great job working with our kids and offering this great education, and we're doing it for less, and they're doing an exceptional job.
About $4,000 less than average.
I just appreciate everything they put into it. I think it speaks to the commitment and the passion they have.
And I would echo that. I agree. I think I said, since I've been here, I think the staff is it's a great staff overall. I think the kids are great. Community, I like it. I think they do a nice job, and so I'm impressed. So hats off to them.
Thank you.
Okay, student recognition. I want to talk a little bit about student. We have a policy, board policy. This is we should recognize kids, and we have a lot of board meetings. I've had a lot of board meetings here since I've been here. Here's about a year to the season. But I wanted to welcome Jasmine Thompson. Welcome. I want to recognize you for your all-state choir. So I think that's impressive. I think I know that you are going to be. That's why I was asking it. It looks as if you're going to be at Cleveland State to perform, right? And I think, like I said, the all-state ensemble will be held at Cleveland State in February. But the application process for all-state ensembles included online applications, digital recordings, required etudes, solos, scales, and warm-ups. So I think that's really impressive, and I just wanted to recognize you for your accomplishments. I think that's amazing. Like I said, I can't sing, and I think that people that can, it's really amazing. And I want to recognize your efforts and tell you congratulations. Okay, I think that's awesome, and I think it is comparable to, you get to perform, but it's comparable to an all-state first-team athlete, right? It's the same thing. So congratulations. I've got a certificate for you. Come on up. There's the camera. Say hi. All right. Here. So I just want to say, impressed. So thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
See ya.
And she's smart.
No offense, Jason. I'm taking it.
And she's smart too.
So no, I think, like I said, I think that's pretty cool, and I think that kids do a lot of great things. Sometimes they don't get recognized, and I think to your point, You know, right, I mean, the teachers do a great job. I think our kids do some amazing stuff. And it's just nice to be able to recognize.
It is.
So,
Thanks for bringing that to the board.
Yes,
I
yeah,
appreciate
That's
that.
awesome.
yeah, I think it's, I mean,
It's important.
but yeah, I mean, we do a lot of positive things, right? So
Yeah.
you're still.
Absolutely.
All right, next we've got a technology presentation by our tech director, Mr. Jason Cook. You're up.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, hey.
You just want me to click there, right? Okay, there you go.
That's all you gotta do.
Thank you. Well, when I started working in education technology over 8 years ago, I did not expect to use my degree in cybersecurity as much as my degree in network administration. But it has become more and more relevant as cyber attacks continue to rise against educational institutions. Some of you may have heard about the ransomware attack on a school district in Tucson, Arizona, that had students' most private information, such as medical records, social security numbers, and even details about their daily bus ride to school, held on ransom. Now more than ever, it seems IT is more relevant than ever. It almost seems very fitting to be presenting to you on National IT Professionals Day, which is celebrated on the third Tuesday of September. Before I arrived in 2021, most equipment was not properly maintained in the district, whether it was teacher laptops that were pushing 10 years old, servers that were struggling to keep up with modern technology, or a lack of regular replacement cycle for Chromebooks. There was no plan in place for regular updates. I don't mean to cast disparity on those who came before, since I'm sure they did the best they could at the time. One of the things my supervisor at my previous district always told me is that we need to tell our story. Technology is often the department that is looked at negatively, whether it's the concept of nothing is broken, what do we pay you for? Or everything is broken, what do we pay you for? Or it's the concept of the department does not make a profit, so why do we keep putting money into you? Right, Tina? We need to tell our story about how much we accomplish and how much we do, because trust me, it is a lot. As I mentioned before, cyber attacks are an ever-present threat these days. We are constantly trying to stay one step ahead of bad guys to prevent attacks from happening and coming with responses in case they do. Over the last 3 years I've been here, we have established regular offsite backups for our on-site data for protection against ransomware attacks, and purchased endpoint detection and response, or EDR, software to protect against cyber attacks, which is an advanced virus detection, basically. Most recently, we have submitted an application for a grant for vulnerability management software, which helps to show if there are any holes in our security, where those holes are, and provide actionable data and remediation for the issues. Additionally, we are working on additional cyber training for staff focused on phishing prevention, since most of the common attack route that hackers use is the human element of clicking on a bad link on an email. My time has also allowed me to create a replacement cycle for all hardware, which also utilizes government E-rate funding where appropriate. E-rate funding is a 5-year funding cycle specifically for getting students connected to the internet. It has very specific spending requirements. Additionally, I negotiated a new contract for our printing and copying, which saved the district thousands of dollars. I also worked with a company to automatically create sync data between Progress Book, Windows, and Google, and used that functionality to automatically translate Chromebooks for non-native English speakers during our most recent influx of refugees 2 years ago, which we are still using today. My team has completed about 5,000 tickets, which does not include countless emails, phone calls, and walk-ins or in-person interactions. There are countless more achievements we have accomplished since 2021, but it would take some time to list them all, and this is only a small portion of that. As mentioned before, replacement cycles for all equipment, especially technology equipment, is very important for keeping things running smoothly. I've created an 8-year replacement cycle for all equipment, including Chromebooks, staff devices, projectors, servers, and more. while also accounting for the E-rate funding. Not having a good replacement cycle means equipment has reduced functionality, fails frequently, and has little return on investment. This also helps to plan the budget with a better understanding of what to expect year to year. After multiple revisions, originally going from a 5-year cycle to a 5 and 8-year cycle combined, to 2 different versions of an 8-year cycle, this is the final product. Originally, a 5-year cycle was planned due to projected technology lifespans at the time. Since then, those technology lifespans have increased, which is why our replacement cycle was changed to allow us to get more use of our money. The current student and staff numbers are based on our current numbers. As we know, the number of devices for students and staff will likely increase from the current projections with our continual growth. I will continue to monitor our growth and adjust the numbers accordingly in order to stay ahead of the curve. With the rapid growth of our district, the demand for tech has also increased. While this makes sense on a surface level, the growth is more demanding on tech than most people may realize. An increase in students also increases the number of teachers and support staff and the number of parents who also may have issues, because let's be honest, we also support the parents as well. This includes services accessed by both parents and students, such as Progress Book, Final Forms, Pay Schools, as well as many other services accessed by teachers and students. We also have more devices and more software and services to support as well, which includes both educational services and security services. And now we also have 2 physical buildings to support. All of this expansion is added to everyone's workload in our department. Unfortunately, this also means somewhat reduced service from us as well. While we strive to give our best service and respond to tickets and issues as fast as possible, the reality is that this doesn't always happen. Not due to the lack of concern, but the lack of manpower to make this happen quickly. Additionally, when one or more of us is out for whatever reason, service is significantly reduced as well. In previous summers, we needed to have a few willing volunteers who were learning on the job to come and help get things ready for the new school year. And I myself would work 80 to 90 hours a week for 3 to 4 consecutive weeks to try and get things ready to go. This was not due to a lack of poor planning, but rather the increase of tasks to complete as we approached the start of school that unfortunately could not be done earlier in the summer. This year, we did not have that situation of needing volunteers and additional working hours, since we had 4 full-time people who either had or were very close to having IT degrees in the department for the first time. Having this trained help significantly made the workload much more manageable in the weeks leading up to the beginning of school, as well as the first couple of weeks of school. We were able to meet the demands of a new school year much more efficiently than in prior years. With the growing landscape of cybersecurity threats, the technology department is under more demands than ever, especially with the rapidly growing district. It is clear we have accomplished quite a lot, but there is still so much more that we want to accomplish, such as upgrading our camera system, joining both COSIN and MSISAC, which are 2 consortiums for cybersecurity, and provide more PD opportunities for staff regarding anything technology-based. We look forward to what the future holds with technology and education in progressing student achievement at Bethel Local Schools.
Cheers. Question?
So do you have a software program for like your tech refresh and inventory that would?
Or, I'm sorry, what was it?
Do you have a software program for your tech refresh and your inventory? You know, like, so the blessing, we just got the new program to help them do their schedules.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you guys have something similar that helps you do your tech refresh and keep track of inventory?
Yeah, pretty much. We have a piece of software called Site IT. That's our inventory system, and it kind of gives us the age of the devices as well, to keep us aware of what needs to be retired when it does.
So now I'm doing it on spreadsheets.
Yeah,
Yes.
the spreadsheet is just for me,
Right.
not necessarily for what we actually do. Yeah.
And then, so I don't know if last year was the first year you did it, but I believe the process now is freshmen get issued their Chromebook and then they keep it with them until they graduate. Did you have any problems this last year from freshmen coming back from summer and everybody brought theirs back in?
Yeah, everything seemed to work all right.
Thank you.
So I mean, technology is so intertwined with everything we do now, like, you know, the ACT test, I just signed us up for that, and that's all
Yeah.
online. Like, so, you know, I think like, Jacob Watson ordered, you know, some equipment, he's starting podcasting class, which kids are super excited about, right? Well, Jason had ordered, I mean, he had to run it through, because I mean, we gotta make sure everything works, right? Before we buy things.
Yeah.
So it's, there's a lot going on, like you said, you don't always see it. I liked your quote of, you know, nothing works or everything's fine. So, but no, yeah.
I was just gonna ask, Jason, can you talk a little bit about the structure of your IT group, who's doing what and, you know, how, I know, I wouldn't say how their day looks, but, because I'm sure it's busy and a lot going on, but can you talk about that a little bit, please?
Sure, so current full-time staff is myself. And we've got Matt Reed, who is our network and systems administrator. And then we have Austin Womack, who is our IT support specialist. And then we also have just still working a little bit hourly here and there, is Matt Colbert, who was our intern from the summer, still kind of interning with us. He hasn't found a full-time position elsewhere. And we're able to continue having him here as well, which is good.
So is everybody cross-trained or does everybody kind of stay in their own lane?
Not everybody's cross-trained on everything, but there is a lot of cross-training. So when somebody's out, say for example, if Austin is out and Matt Reed has to fill in for him, he can do that. He knows how to fix Chromebooks, he knows how to work with teachers and he's very good with everything there as well. So and same thing if Matt Reed would be out, Austin or I know how to do that. So there's a little bit of gaps between positions, but for the most part, there's a lot of cross trainings.
About how many hours a week do you think the intern is still working?
So we just brought him back this week. So far he's worked 16 hours, but he's helping us to get caught up and stay caught up because it's been very there's been a lot.
But you expect that to continue until he maybe finds a job? Is that what you're saying? Or is that just until you get caught up?
Let's see. There's not really a plan since he doesn't have a contract with us, so it's kind of
As needed?
yeah. He came in half a day last week.
We use them as needed at this point. Yeah, I think one of the things, like, you know, when you talk to some of the teachers, you know, they'll try to log on and things will spool, kids can't get on Chromebooks. There's a lot of, you know, sometimes issues if they can't on the Chromebooks and they can't do half the stuff and everything online. Yeah, so I think we try to make it as seamless as possible for the teachers and the kids. We'll see if we have to keep using it, but right now we've been using it.
So do you think the district would benefit from more interns in the summer? So that you would have a pool throughout the year?
It's not something I've really considered, but possibly. I wouldn't. The only concern, just off the top of my head, that I would have with that is they're not. The idea is that they intern for us and then they get a full-time job. So if we were to even have, say, 3 interns over the summer and then all 3 of them get a job, it's not something that we can't just have them be on call as like fill-ins or anything like that. So I don't know that would be the best solution. But no, I mean it's I'd never really considered it either, so.
It's kind of like, I look at the hourly guy, kind of like a we have building 7, for example, right? The
Yeah.
other day, the Raptor machines went down. And then we had like 50-some volunteers coming in.
Of
the
course.
elementary. I'm like, I need help over here, right? So we dispatched them over there, but so we had people over here to
Yeah.
do other things, and it's just nature of the beast with everything. Just so much technology.
Yeah,
I just
I just,
thought it'd be a good presentation to give
Yeah.
everybody understands how highly involved everything is.
yeah.
That's fantastic, thank you, appreciate it.
Natalie?
I just have one more
I know.
question. How do you navigate the distance with the elementary school? What was the procedure there through the day? Are you there there's somebody there a certain time of each day?
Yeah,
And you rotate? Or?
it's kind of day to day, but it's for the most part, Matt Reed's over there, Austin's over here, I'm over here. At some point in the day, sometimes they'll switch, or Matt will come over, drop some stuff off, pick some stuff up, back and forth, or vice versa. Austin will go over. Yeah, so we do try and have somebody over there all the time as well.
So we're trying to get some information out of WOCO for some of the software that for the routing and things like, Jason's running one on that, so it takes time.
Yeah.
But you can do a lot of stuff remote, can't you?
Yeah.
Like, if they call in and have a problem, you can remote.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great presentation, appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Okay, important dates, September 18th, parent teacher conference tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
Sunday, meet the teams community night.
there you go.
Friday, homecoming game, October 4th, homecoming, October 5th. Tuesday, Board of Education work session. Yeah.
Now maybe-
Thursday, October 10th, MV CTC end of first quarter, the 11th, no school for MVCTC. Board of Education regular meeting 15th, end of the first grading period is the 18th, and Friday, October 18th, with a 2-hour release. Well, annexation update, I gave the board a draft of a resolution. I wanted to have that conversation with the board and get some feedback from you. If you want to make changes, that's fine. Like I said, I don't want to get ahead of the board, but at the same time, I've been through this before. You direct me in how you want me to go, and I'll go. But I think the bottom, you can read through this, but I think the bottom paragraph is, key, where it says the Board of Education instructs the superintendent to engage in service of an educational planning firm or develop. This goes back to the taxes and everything else we talked about, right? Including but not limited to the construction of a new school buildings, location of a new school building, expansion of our existing school buildings, reconfiguration of current grade. We may not be able to, stop the annexation, if you will, but we do have a lot of control where we build a school, where we do our thing, right? So that is there any, like I said, it's a conversation. We can put it on next month. You want it, but I just, wanted to put this out there and get some feedback on how you want me to proceed. I don't want to get ahead of the board. I'll do what you want me to do. Do whatever you want.
I think we need to go.
Yeah.
We need to move on this, because this will put us on the path, is to come up with an action plan and a way ahead for how we're gonna.
Yeah, I think, obviously this leads into the strategic plan, right? It's all part of what's gonna happen here in the next 10 years. And you can't wait, you just can't wait on certain things, right? You gotta plan ahead, otherwise you get caught.
Proactive versus reactive.
Yeah, you gotta quit being so reactive and more proactive.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of what firms or firms?
I know two that I've used in the past, one's in Akron and one's in Cincinnati. And they're not, they are firms that they do it all, right, from start to finish. They're architects by trade, but they do a lot of planning, demographics, enrollment studies, things like that. I've known these guys for years. And it's not rocket science. There's people out there that do it. I don't think that, I just happen to know them and I've worked with them before and they've done a nice job. I don't think it's something, you can interview people if you want. I just think it would be nice to get some other eyes on it from start to finish. All the rules, regulations, things that are coming. I don't think I mean, they can come out and talk to us, they're not gonna charge me for that, you know, I mean, they've known me a long time, but it may be, you know, if that's something you're interested in, I can have them talk to them. You know, you can ask a question, things like that. There's a lot to this, I just don't want, you know, there's a lot of moving parts, lot to this, and I mean, 15 years from now, I won't be here. But we would like to, you know, I'd like to look down from, you know, look up from Florida or look down from whoever. 15 years, is a long time, but see that things are the way they should be, right? For
Yeah.
everybody.
Mhm.
So,
Yes,
I think it's sooner better than later.
absolutely, I do too,
At least it's a starting point to get the dialogue started.
and get us on the right path.
so I know there's been comments made, you know, and I know that, you know, there's been, you know, willing to. I know the mayor had said that, you know, he expects to meet with Bethel local schools, do options for the proposed new school. I mean, that's great. It's all fine, but I know we're willing to do that and expect to do that. Can't speak for the board. I hope to meet with us. Not saying we won't meet with them, but you know, officials, we didn't immediately respond. I'm going to talk to you first. I'm not going to respond to the media or anybody else till you got your blessings. I know.
I'd like some professional input. I'd like some professional input.
Sorry, just struggling to hear a little bit of the conversation, so.
Yes.
I just want to ask, I'll play devil's advocate, this is assuming that we're gonna take those students, is that correct? Is there anything
Correct.
else on the table?
I
Or does this address that as well?
don't, I mean, I don't see how they don't become a CT2 unless, I mean. We can have that discussion with them, but you're talking. I mean, the biggest thing is Huber Heights City Schools would have to want the kids. They don't. I talked to the superintendent, they don't want.
I may be wrong, but I thought, John had told us that there's a, unprotested and a protested discussion that can be had, and I just wanted to make sure we had everything covered.
We can still cover that now, and I think, I'm not opposed to that either, I just think that. I don't think it's a battle that you can win. I mean, a lot of it depends on Huber Heights and what school. I met with Jason Ennis. He said that they do not want kids. So.
Sorry, I said the wrong word, uncontested versus contested.
Yeah,
That's,
I know.
wanted to get that right,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's fine. I knew,
But-
no, I mean, like I said, we can have those conversations, and those questions, but I just think at the end of the day. If we belabor that, it just puts us further behind for probably the inevitable result.
And I don't know that it needs to be an either or, I think it can be a both and, right? I mean, like, we can do both. We can prepare for both instances,
Scenarios.
right? Yeah, right.
You can't,
So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, like,
But I wouldn't want those to hold us up from going.
no,
forward.
I agree, it would be at the same time.
and we can talk about those scenarios, I guess. Before I spend a lot of time on both scenarios and bringing people in, I want to make sure, I just don't want to do something you don't want. Right, so if that's what you want me to do, if you say charge that way, give me both scenarios and plan for what's coming to come. Now. We can do that. Like I said, it was a draft, I wanted to take a look at it, and, you know, get your input.
Yeah.
I would appreciate the names of those firms and like just be able to do some of my own research as well. though. So
Sure.
if you can send those to me, that'd be
Yeah.
great. Thanks.
And did the information, like the 1,400 students, did that come out of the,
Study,
I'm sorry,
came out of that study.
the study? Okay, I just want to make sure that it all,
And that's what those firms will do too, right? Is they'll look at that.
They'll do all that.
Development.
But yeah, then it gets into the, you know, you can see it, all the things that you're talking about, the different scenarios. That's what they do for a living.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I mean, if there's somebody else you know, if there's another firm out there that you're interested, in, I don't care personally. I'm just saying,
I'm
there's
just
two,
curious as to
yeah.
who they are, that's all.
They're FMD and L. FMD,
What was the second one?
FMD and LMR, ELEBAR.
Okay.
That's one that's,
So,
which is closer.
We'll wait a little bit longer on this resolution.
I mean, I just wanted, if there's any changes, I think we should add, like both scenarios, some of the topics, the input that you gave me, I can incorporate in this, we can put it on.
Okay.
I want you to be able to tell me what,
Mhm.
I don't want to go back and say, hey, I did what I did. It's not what we wanted. I'm like, okay.
I'm glad I spent all that time doing this.
Yeah, look, plus it'll keep you busy, but, yeah, but, no, I can add some of those things and, like I said, if anything, I could even have them come up, one of the others and say, hey, let's talk to these guys. That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm here. Like I said, I'm not gonna charge us for it.
And most resolutions have 2 readings anyway, so a draft
Sure.
can count as
Sure.
one.
Yeah, especially when it comes to policy, but yeah, you're right. That's why I put a draft. We don't have to pass it, I wanted input.
Thank you.
You're
And then-
welcome.
and
Thank
so-
you for putting it together.
Yes, thank you. And you're talking about like redistricting and stuff, is that what you're saying about if you don't get Carriage Trails 2.0, that option, right?
So,
So,
I mean, that's what, that ultimately, that's what it leads to, if you ask the questions, yeah.
but then, so John had also mentioned transfer of property, so I guess, could he just tell us what all the options are and
Yeah,
the probability of, like, what would have to go, we have to go through to get redistricting, just Carriage Trails 2.0, right?
Yeah, John could do that legally, but I think, these companies could incorporate that as well.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
they can.
Yeah.
And some,
Yep.
just some, can they just tell us what all the different options available and then the probabilities of each one?
Yeah, I think you're just gonna run into, I mean, to be honest, if you're problem, if you write one.
Right.
That's when you come with land transfers and all these different things.
Mhm.
If the other school district wants it, that's one thing, they're saying they can't afford it, they don't have the infrastructure and they.
And right now, nobody's done anything illegal, so we can't hold them on anything else, so.
No, I mean, this happened, this annexation happened a long time ago.
Mhm.
Before I got here. I mean, we can search all the avenues. I just want to know which direction you'd like me to go, so.
But again, that'd be going parallel, so it won't hold up anything moving forward, like you're.
No, we can run both trains down the track and then
yeah.
see which one you want. I mean, it's not gonna stop one, we can do both.
Cause they're already selling homes and stuff over there, so
Mhm.
it's just a matter of time. I mean, I don't know, we have a whole bunch of time to.
Yeah.
That's my only fear is, I don't overanalyze something if we already know that inevitable is them coming, so how.
Yeah, but if that's, that's a path you want me to take, get on it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. Done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now you'll incorporate that into the resolution and then we'll just have this at the next
Next
meeting.
board meeting.
And then we'll move forward.
Move forward, yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying. I'll start to look into it now, but. Maybe I'll bring somebody out to a meeting.
Mhm. Thank you very much.
Yep. All right. Recommendation, classified personnel. Okay, Colleen Rakowski, Natalie, you asked, she was hired before. But as a substitute, now she's being hired full-time. So that's why you saw it before.
Yeah.
You're right,
Thanks.
but that's,
And I couldn't remember the difference till, I
yeah,
had to look it up as well.
I couldn't either. I had to look up myself. Couldn't either. I told you last week. And Kristen Woods, is
Thank
the
you.
special ed aide. We are still one short. We're still a 1-to-1 age short in K2. So that's where we're at with that. Employee, like I said, classified custodian. We approve, these are, I call it work study, OWE, the old school. work
Yeah,
study.
OWE.
But.
We know what you mean.
I'm right there with you.
All right, better understand my language, so. Yeah, so these are student workers, all right, they've got some time in their schedule and it's nice that they help us out, they're good kids, see them around the building, so. We've got a leave without pay. Ron Lakency Food Service, we knew about this when she interviewed us, surprised. And then we've got a bus driver, that was on military leave. So we've had some discussion about that. You know, so I think, you know, there was compensation from the government. This place was held, benefits were carried over, but I also understand some of the comments, so I agree. But, contract adjustment, just we had a bus driver go from 4 hours to 6 hours per day. Rescind the contract, we talked about this pretty much in length last week as well. Rayla, she accepted and she resigned. Brittany, same thing, accepted and resigned. Resignations here for bus aide. So Ison was a bus, she's resigning, and you'll see her later because she gets up. But, and Jesse Nickel is officially resigned finally. Jesse saga ends. I wish him well. And then substitutes. Then Ison's back on as a bus aide, rehire as a sub. And then Stephanie Porter is another sub, and then Caitlin is another sub. And that's it for classified. Just need your approval.
So can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda for the classified personnel?
I'll second.
Any discussion? We take a vote, please.
Mrs. Butler,
Yes.
Mrs. Donahue,
Yes.
Mrs. Kiplinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Leskowitz.
Yes.
Okay, on the certified personnel, we had talked about Anna Sampson, the gifted coordinator. She gave her presentation last month. She had a stipend last year, and we were just asking that effective 8/1 that we give her another stipend for her services this year. Supplemental contracts, Casey, he's our Just Right advisor, step 2.
And what, I'm sorry, what is just right?
It's like.
It's like
Power
Power
ten.
10 for high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, proud of him.
Yeah.
We all-
I can relate to that.
That's just right. So, and then Gabrielle Ailes, she's a substitute teacher effective immediately. She's a Wright State student, and she also has her pre-service teaching permit. So she is allowed to sub for our policy and for Wright State's policy. So, you know, she can't sub on the day that she's doing her student teaching, but I mean, we can't find, there's not a day goes by here in any of these buildings that we don't have other teachers cover us. Not have, so.
I mean, could we have like a permanent sub for the
We have a
district?
building sub,
You have one in each building.
and then we use them every day.
And we need another one.
Yeah, it's, well, you know, we talked about, like the ESC, we get a list, but there's not many subs on the ESC list.
Right.
That's who we use, and then, so we talked about different ways to advertise.
What about Heidi Kenning? Is she one?
She's a very long term subbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the daily sub in one of the buildings.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it still a long term contract?
Don't know. I know she was on a few of them last year, yeah. I mean, I'll have to double check, but yeah,
Yeah.
he might be, yeah.
There just isn't.
They're not out there, you know, they don't, you know, it's part of it's. The environment. You know, the setting, the bay and things like that, but they just, they're not what it used to be. All right, so I mean, we have to find different ways to advertise and think and market. I think part of it's showing. You know, if we can get to the point where everybody would just love to come to Bethel, then that alleviates a lot, right? They want to come here, I think, and we're getting there. I don't think it's as bad as it used to be, you know, but you got. They're just not out there, and we're trying to find different ways, like through Indeed and you know, just not through the ESC,
Yeah.
so they're not out there either.
So we're hiring these subs directly, correct?
We're hiring them directly, so.
Yeah.
And we took Christine Smith, she's going to be a sub. She actually is not directly, she's through the ESC. But we took the other ones. Yeah, she's on the ESC list. I had a letter from Dave Larson, who had hired her. She's officially hired through the ESC last night. So she's officially hired, but David written a letter for her to be able to work here, even employ her until the board.
So,
I'm sorry, but she was on our ESC list that she needed her renew. So that's been completed.
Yeah, that's
Everything's
what.
done.
Okay,
Yeah, she was approved last night at the ESC.
gotcha.
so could we partner with like Wright State or any of the other local schools around here that have a teaching program to do something similar to this, where they're still a student, but they're still authorized to sub?
We can. I
We
mean, I
do.
think- and we do, but it just, there's not many of them.
Yeah, I mean, people are not going into educational fees.
Right.
Or if they
To do
do,
the
they
podcast.
don't stay in.
Right. Unfortunately.
I
So,
think the new licensing will, really curtail that as well, because, I mean, during COVID, if you just had a high school diploma, you could come and
pulse.
Yeah,
You can teach. Yeah, good. No, I think it's, I think COVID did a lot, right? I think COVID. It changed the requirements, now we beat them back up. But I also think it changed the mindset of a lot of folks that were thinking about education. And a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. I mean, I don't know the answer now, but I think a lot of that was a shift. It's a shift in people's thinking, what they want to do with their lives, and, you know. It changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, unfortunately, not for the better. But yeah, any more questions on those two? Just a degree in status. Jessica is going from BS 150 to the previous BS to step 15 with the master's.
Yeah, it's all good.
And then we talked about this last week, just the SC substitute teacher list.
So can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda for certified persons? Anybody, I'll second. Any discussion?
I had one question. So the stipend for the gifted coordinator, is that the same stipend as it was last year, or is that an increase?
It's an increase. It was 11,000 last year. Right?
Mhm.
And it was, so we increased it by 50. In accordance to the other rate. Percent.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? We take a roll, please.
Mrs. Leskowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Donahue?
Yes.
Mrs. Kiplinger?
Yes.
Recommendation for business, I'd like the board to approve the resolution to cancel school on November 5th, 2024 and March 4th, 2025 for elections. And we went over this last week. Like I said, we are way above our hours. We can miss 16 days. It's not, it's gonna be 4 or 5 hours of education for one day and 4 or 5 for another. Like just on the fact of school safety. I mean, I understand that's a different elementary, it's a different building, it doesn't keep anybody from walking over there. Just think this election's gonna bring out the folks, and I just don't, in conjunction with sheriff's office, and police, and people I've spoken with, it was, be a better idea just to close. We close anyway, remote learning, but I mean, remote learning is, in my mind, not remote learning. Waste of time.
Really?
So, but I think that's why.
There's more work on the parents.
It is. I mean, thank you.
Well, I mean, it's fine in a, desperate situation, I mean.
Right, but
that's
there's
not- right,
no,
that's
it's
not-
checking a box.
And I wanted to get this out sooner than later so we can let people know, that it's gonna be inconvenient for some, it's gonna be, daycare,
Right.
Right.
situations for the younger kids, but, at the same time, they're outside for recess and I just don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
What I don't know, I'd rather fall on the side of safety for the kids than.
Or is there an incentive option?
Will anybody be on site to, make sure building is?
Will I be on site?
Or anybody?
I will be on site.
You will be on site, okay?
We'll be working.
We'll be working,
Yeah,
we'll be
central
working.
office will be
And we've
working.
got, they're gonna set up Monday, they're setting up the polling booths Monday night here. But yeah, well, you know, administration will be here. But, I mean, I know, I don't expect teachers to show up, you know, if I'm worried about safety for kids and safety for them. I don't think I can.
I just wanted to be safe for the next day, that's why.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay.
Yeah. Something happens to me, nobody cares.
We care.
Hey,
You gotta get that resolution, we hear.
And then sports goes unchanged, right? They still practice that night or whatever.
yeah, elections will be over. We're not changing that athletic schedule. It's just during the day, you know, when they get out, they just people in and out in traffic. There's just a lot of moving parts here.
Yeah.
Some crazy out there.
Would there be athletic practices like during that after school time?
I left that up. I talked to Damon about that. I don't know what time some of those practices are. If they're out on the football, I mean, if they're outside, you got supervision, I'm not. We haven't decided that. I just want to get the kids in school clothes. I know some like middle school stuff can't. I don't know about the varsity. So, but that's why. And then, any more questions on that? Okay. Approval of bus purchases, you can get that pulled up, Tina. We talked about that, there's prices, I mean, we are, you know, we're still double routing because we need another bus. We had a bus breakdown the other day, so we were short a bus. We have no spare on buses traveling 300,000 miles on it, but we talked about this, I think, you know, talking about being proactive and reactive, I think, you know, the fleet's been, for lack of a better term, not been kept up over the years. And you're growing, right? So you've got more kids that you have to route. So that's why this is on here. This will give us, we don't have enough buses to get some of the athletic events either. So we've got, you know, some of them are still 45 minutes late, half hour late. But that's why this is. So we talked about this last week, but yeah. And then now you'd ask for some detail, if you got your answer
Yeah, I appreciate that. I did reach out
to
a
Jacob.
little bit later this afternoon to Jacob, the transportation supervisor director, and he responded and I got some more details. And I think you did touch on it, but it wasn't all clicking for me. So I was happy to hear that again. And I know there are the two used buses. The only thing I did have a follow-up question on is, I know he mentioned that, you know, and it's listed on there, the lift bus, right, for handicap, but I thought we also contracted that company who was gonna do that service for us, so that had me a little confused on
We
what we're really
we
doing.
contract a company for some of our special ed kids, but not wheelchair kids,
Not with what I'm saying.
not the wheelchair kids. It's other
Okay.
special ed kids.
Okay.
We can't transport, we can't get them. Okay. We have,
So there are two different sets of
Two different-
kids.
oh yeah, there's a lot of different sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mean that way.
No,
but-
I'm just saying, there's different groups of kids that have to be, they all have to be somewhere in the morning, they have to be picked up in the afternoon, we don't have enough folks to do that.
So this one here will be used in the district for picking up and bringing to the school here
We're over to Tip,
or over.
we got
to-
units
yeah.
over there. Yeah. Right.
Do we know what the mileage on that 2009 is?
We do, I mean,
I think he put it in his email.
Yeah,
I think it's, I told Mike and I told Jacob that I wanted to take a seatbelt and suspenders approach to the purchase of these 3 buses. Just to make sure that, you know, because typically you have to put out to bid for
Right.
buses. And Jacob Mr. Wilhite did a really good job of finding this bus from Rush Truck and bus that's a stock bus. And it is part of the bids that were accepted by the EPC,
Oh,
but he
okay.
was even able to get that price dropped even more. So this bus would traditionally cost you 160 to 165,000, and he was able to negotiate it to 129,550, which is why, you know, we have the urgent necessity, right?
Get it right.
Because even though it was part of the bid and the other two fall below the bid requirements, I just want us to have that belts and suspenders, so everybody knows what we're doing as far as those buses are concerned, so. That was on me to do the, urgent necessity, for that, and the 4 buses that we're selling, they aren't drivable. Yeah, I mean, they've
They
been
don't work.
carted out,
They're
they,
sitting in the
yeah, they're
weeds back
just
there.
sitting in the weeds and so that's why we're selling those.
And somebody stripped parts off those too.
Yeah, we've been,
Somebody's
yeah, we've
taken
been,
parts off of it
yeah.
over the years. And they don't- One doesn't have an exhaust, it sounds like.
yeah,
I mean, it's just, so it looks a lot better back there. You know, we
I bet
cleaned
it
it up
does,
back there, we
yeah.
cut the weeds down, we can get those out of here, so. You'd ask the mileage, you. 131,528 on Indian Lake School Bus, the engine was overhauled at 112, it's got all the service records from the districts, the title. The bus from Mason, which is price has 110,000 miles on it, came from a district in Indiana, offered a public auction. And they bought it to resell it, so they're accessible, you know, which we're in desperate need of. But we also have all the, he did all the internal inspections, track record, everything. So, I mean, you know, he did his due diligence, like I said, he ran transportation at Reynoldsburg, run a lot of different places, but he knows a lot of people. And I think that's nice because, you know, if there's a deal to be had, he can find it.
So what's your estimate of receiving any of these after?
Indian Lake's already here. It's already on site. And then once you prove it, and then we'll take it, get the letters changed. The other two should be here. One, well, we'll have to go to Indiana and get it.
Yeah.
And then the other one, the new one should be here next week.
So be here
Do
next
it
week.
next week.
yeah, they wanna make sure we have a check for them before they deliver it. So we'll have the check for them this week. And
Or signing it.
yeah, and so we'll cut a check for them, this week, and then
now.
they'll drop it off next week, so.
The new one next week, and then we gotta go to Indiana again. That's the schedule. So I had that. We got one here now. We got one next week, the new one, and somebody's gotta take Jacob to Indiana so he can drive it back.
Well done, Mr. Wilbite.
Yes, thank you, good job.
I was gonna ask one other thing, so. Can you tell us how many total buses then we will have in the inventory that are usable for everyday routes?
Off the top of my head. no,
Yeah, will we,
I think we currently have 18 and this will bring us up to 21.
21. That's what I thought too. Sure. I hate to go on record.
Yeah, I think when we did the T1, it was 18 or 19, so we're either at 21 or 22, so I'll double check with Jacob, but that's
Because
where
some
we're
of
at.
those weren't usable.
Mhm. Yeah, from
And
last
do we
year,
have
but
enough
this year we got
drivers
it.
for all the buses?
What's that?
Do
I
we have
think
enough
we're still down
drivers?
two.
Down one driver. And we interviewed one yesterday. New guy. He seemed excited.
Oh,
But
good.
this will get rid of our double routes, right?
Once we get the extra driver and the extra bus, we will have we're down to one double route now, which is the first time in 3 years.
Victory.
Yes.
And then we get one more driver, we'll have no more double routes and the kids can get picked up on time.
Yeah.
So,
Well done.
Well done.
and
Yeah.
with the buses, we'll have one spare bus then, is what I think I heard as well, right?
Right.
yeah, cause I mean, I got up the other morning and somebody shattered a windshield, right?
Yeah,
So, 5:30, I get a call, the windshield, we can't use that one. So, the other day, the door broke on, it's 45 minutes late getting out. So it's the only one we had, so we still picked up kids late, it's just nice to have a spare.
We have both running spare.
And the one we got is 3,000.
For some reason, and I forget now the reason, but in November of 23, we did sell a new bus to somebody else.
Mhm.
I wish we kept that.
Mhm.
I wasn't here.
I know, but I think I complained then.
Alone.
But
On surface, I would not disagree with you.
so let's not do that again.
I promise you I won't sell any of the new ones that we got.
Well, thank you.
Thank
well,
you.
thank you for answering my question.
No, you're welcome. Yeah, no, I want you to have the information, that way when you get questioned, you can answer.
Yeah, this is great.
Mhm.
Well done, Mr. Wilbite.
Good job, Jacob, if you're watching. Yeah, and then the next one's payment in lieu of transportation for the 24-25 school year. This is just, we come across people throughout the course of the school year that I just can't, it's just can't transfer. So I just deem it, you know, that it's impractical, we just pay you to do it. So. And then you want to paint yours, you want to talk about the paint, and you do a nice job.
You negotiate.
I was gonna say.
We don't buy, we buy a lot, so that makes it a lot easier, so.
So I live 3 minutes away. If they have any extra, they can
Yeah,
just talk
so,
about.
just new contract starts September 1st, and it'll be at pricing at 1.099 per gallon through May 30th, 2025, and, you know, as long as we stay within that 152, it will stay at $1.90099, so we're gonna keep a close eye on that. I've heard conflicting stories that it's gonna be a bad winter, and then some people are like, yeah, it's not gonna be, so I don't know, but, if we can lock in a good price, let's try for that, so.
Supposed to be a wet summer too.
Yeah. Not a wet summer, yeah, drought, so, yeah. But I just, every year I ask the board to approve a contract, and this is the one for this year, and it's less than last year, so I think we're doing well.
And then the approval of testing coordinator service contract, we talked about that, that's Marion Margaret, she sat out in August, that's why people wonder, she was coming back, she retired, coming back. So she's back, she's gonna do all the ACT testing and those types of things. And then the approval of the SC services from Montgomery County for the educational assessment team and the autism coaching team. And that is it for me, and then the motion to approve the consent agenda for business.
We get a motion to approve the consent agenda for business items?
I'll move.
I'll second. Any discussion? We take roll, please.
Mrs. Butler,
Yes,
Mrs. Donahue? Yes. Mrs. Kiplinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Leskowitz?
Yes. All right, that leaves us to.
yay, look how fast we cleared things out. of there for you.
I tell you what, appreciate that.
Come on down.
Long time no see.
I know, it's been a long day. Well, first of all, it's hard to believe teachers have been here 6 weeks back, and students, this is our 5th week back with students. Parent teacher conference, as we said, is coming. A lot of things going on, SOR training, which is the science of reading training, we're required K-12 to get that done at different levels, so that's going on. A lot of it's already been completed, a lot of it's almost completed. But there's still a lot more training that's gonna be required, because as we go through, file and rank, they keep increasing when ramps go and when this has to go and this has to go, so we gotta make sure we're getting our middle school teachers trained, then we gotta get our high school teachers trained on top of that. So there's a lot gonna be going on. We had a successful meeting. We implemented the LMC as Mr. Nutter mentioned last time at the middle school. It was a successful first meeting.
It's effective.
Yeah. And a little bit of restructure on the BLT, and that was successful. I talking with the administrator, said that's one of the best he's ever had. Streamlined discussion, and it was actually proactive and interactive with the teachers and with what needed to be done. So that's a positive. Also, our high school musical was announced, Wizard of Oz, so that'll be coming. Middle school musical has 52 students participating, so that's phenomenal.
Awesome.
We want to
And 40 high school students taking part in a cruise behind the scenes.
Yes, so that is phenomenal that the high school is taking that interest in bringing up, and it actually acts like a mentorship even to our middle schools, so that's really a positive
It's
and
huge.
a nice interactive. So I'd like to see that continue. We want to congratulate Olivia Brumbaugh for beating the cross-country school record, which is phenomenal, you know, she is a freshman. So I can't wait to see what's gonna happen, she's still got 3 years to go. We also had another freshman, cross-country gentleman, Mr. Brinson, actually won a meet, came in first place just this past weekend, so It looks like exciting things happening with cross country in the boys and girls ranks. We'd like to congratulate the boys golf team for that undefeated season, which hasn't happened, I don't know, what, 2009, 2006, 2009? And we wish them well on Friday. Hopefully they can bring home the district, that'd be great. The conference. Also, congratulations, we had Miss Jones at the principal of 3-5 principal, just got married over Labor Day weekend, so we want to congratulate her. She is gonna go by Mrs. Jones, so, not to confuse the kids. But anyway, but looking forward to moving forward and, the positive interactions and just keep moving and making the district better and great. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mindy.
Facilities committee, is there any?
Sorry. Wait, sorry, facilities, did you say? Is next? Oh, we'll get, well, we didn't meet today because I wasn't sure what.
Well, we
we're gonna
talked about
talk
last week,
for sure.
you said you weren't gonna have one this.
Yeah,
this
and
month.
so, I wasn't sure exactly what all we would talk about tonight or. That there would be a resolution coming, so now we've kind of
Might want to incorporate that into,
set us a path a little
Yeah.
more defined, so, we'll try to meet next month, probably 6:30, just to get us started on, October.
let's see, what, 8th is, or
16, 15,
15, I think, 10, 15.
I don't trust my memory.
It was in
anymore. I
my-
have to
it
look
was
at
These are my
here.
important dates, I thought it was,
your important date?
thank you,
Third, yeah, the 15th.
15, see?
Thank you. And then, liaison reports, OSBA.
Nothing really going on right now. Quiet as things get moving again.
And then CTC.
I'm trying to get the set of numbers for the juniors and seniors, get the total amount. I didn't have that in time for the meeting yet, so I'll provide that next month. But was on their website and they are starting to highlight some of the students who are going to be their student ambassadors for each program. And of the 4 that were out on there for this week anyway, no Bethel kids, but we'll make sure that we get them noted as they come through. And I'm sure one of them will be, at least on some of those programs, so more to come. Thank you.
And student activities.
We got activities.
I'm like, do we have a list?
Yeah, sorry, folks. You thought we were going fast. It just gave me more things to read about. So thank you, Mindy, for bringing up what's going on with the music, middle school musical and music news. So many kids being involved in that. It's going to be another outstanding performance. We've got the marching band. Come catch the marching band show at halftime. And this year's theme is Guardians of the Galaxy. It's good music and it's fun to watch. So you want to make sure you do that. And to support the students in the musical programs, and musical boosters are running a spirit wear sale, and they haven't done it in a number of years, but they want to do that to support the music programs we have here. And if I don't have any more information on that, but you could get in touch with the music booster, Miss Wolford or Mr. Spears for more information. I'm sure they'll help you out. Okay, highlights from athletics. Golf. Gotta love our boys golf team. Way to go. Sugar Isle, the TRC championships Friday at Sugar Isle. Girls golf. Let's just talk about girls golf, number 2 in the TRC. And if they win their tournament on Friday, they'll be TRC champs. That is outstanding. In August, Claire Bailey reached an amazing 1,000 career digs in volleyball, and that's a huge achievement. And so we want to give her a shout out for that. Cross country is running away. Bees can run. So let's just talk about league standings. Justin Brinson's number 2 in the league and leads our bees. Number 3, Kate Schweikert. Number 6, Patrick Furstenberger. Number 8 is Michael Trussell. 21 is Cullen Furstenberger. 23 is Caleb Ratliff. 36 is Caleb Roble. Sorry, I'm gonna massacre some of these names. And number 37 is Luke Klimkowski. And they're doing an exceptional job. Our high school girls are also on fire. We've got Olivia Brumbaugh, number 2 in the conference. Number 3 is Alessandra Pirano. Number 4 is Natalie Sonnenstein. I mean, that's 2, 3, 4. That's something. That's
It's impressive.
they run for a sport. I mean, they're not, that's crazy. And number 27, Kira Mallet. 28 is Emma Burbridge and Olivia Stanky Ellis, number 31. So we have got some cross-country runners. The Bees are gonna host the TRC cross-country meet here on Saturday, October 12th. So if you want to sit in a chair and watch them run, you can come and watch cross-country. I think it'll be great to cheer them on. Junior high football is undefeated at this point in the season, and they've only given up 1 touchdown in the first 3 games of the season. So they're doing really well with their start. And let's junior high volleyball. Our 8th grade girls are undefeated in conference play, which is stellar. They have an 11-2 overall record. And our 7th graders are doing pretty well. They're 6 and 7 in the conference. And 3, for their overall record, and 3 and 6 in the conference. And they've got athletes of the month for August. Football, Landon Cornwell. Volleyball, Claire Bailey. Boys soccer, Logan Norris. Girls soccer, Brooklyn Riviello. Boys golf, Josh Fiery. Girls golf, Lily Mahelsick. Cross country, Grace Prono and Justin Brinson. And cheer, Kyla Guerin. I think that's how it is. I hope I'm trying to do the best I can. Here's something, if you're participating in winter sports, the window in Final Forms is now open for you to get registered for that. So don't delay and head over to Final Forms for your winter sports. Junior high and high school boys and girls basketball, high school bowling, high school swim team, junior high and high school wrestling. Let's put a plug in, junior high wrestling still needs a head coach and assistant coach. So somebody needs to step up for that. And finally, homecoming information, because things are changing up this year. September 29th is going to be Meet the Teens Community Night. The gates will open at 4. The parade of teens will begin at 5, and the court is going to walk with their team that night. Powder Puff will be freshman versus sophomore at 6, and junior versus seniors at 7. And if it's approved through the fire department, there will be a bonfire at 8. No,
If they're gonna stand there.
Yeah, that TBD on the fire, I think. Voting for the king and queen will begin on September 30th. Then the king, queen, and court, or queen, king, and court, however you want to, or court, king, and queen, however you want to do it, will be announced at the game after the coin toss. About 6:30 is what Mr. Smith said. And then the dance will be Saturday. So that's what we've got going on for athletic activities. We are active bees.
I'm like, take a breath.
Oh, wait, I got another one. Sorry. So Ryan, hot off the press. I just picked up my phone and lost the Ryan Reitinger, who's the daughter of Miss Reitinger, one of our junior high, middle school math teacher. Well, and I don't have it anymore, is attending Walsh University, and she was a phenomenal athlete when she was here. She's a 2023 graduate, 3 sports. She did soccer, basketball, softball. She went to Notre Dame to play sports, and Notre Dame shut down their program. Notre Dame College, yes. So then she transferred over to Walsh, and she started playing women's rugby. Yeah, that was rugby. Yeah.
Okay.
And they beat the Ohio State. Come on, she scored. I can't tell you what she scored. Oh wait, here we go. I can tell you, it was great. It was like, it was a huge amount of. You gotta love rugby. She scored 24 points. in the win over The Ohio State University. It's unbelievable. And for her efforts, she was named the Female Athlete of the Week at Walsh. So
Well done.
bees continue to play well. Congratulations, Ryan. Great job. That's a
Yes.
D1, and she said one of her teammates is involved with the US women's national team, so maybe she's a future Olympian.
Wow.
There you go.
Impressive.
Well done. Now I'm done.
Great. All right, that leads us to public participation, and we do have one from Ms. Julie Reese.
Okay, good evening. I forgot this on the agenda comments, but the public could not see the minutes this time. It didn't even look like there was any attachments, but I couldn't see them.
Oh, okay.
And there was no technology report, so I was just wondering if you could post that somewhere. So I like to download everything because it's kind of hard to see on the screen depending where you're sitting. And of course, the annexation resolution wasn't mentioned. So I'm gonna post that somewhere. And then at the last workshop, an executive session was held up front for about an hour and a half. There was no vote following that executive session. I understand if discussion is needed before his vote is taken. However, when there's nothing on the agenda that requires an executive session be held up front, I would respectfully ask that the executive sessions be held at the end of the agenda so that the teaching staff and public do not have to sit and wait through them. I don't say this just because I don't want to wait, because I do wait. But here's a case in point. Last week, this is like this one day in particular, there was a conflicting Huber Heights planning meeting. And had an executive session been at the end, I could have gone to that meeting as well, because with the regular meeting would have been over by then. So, rather than having to choose between the two. So just an example. Lastly, during much of the meeting, and this is every week I come here, it's difficult to hear all of you. So especially, sorry, Superintendent Nutter, but I think in part because you're talking to them, which makes sense. So you can't hear you on this side as well. And Jackie sometimes talks very quietly. And also I've gone back to the recordings and it's the same way. It's difficult to hear the whole meeting. So I was wondering if there was any chance you guys could get microphones for the meeting. So that at least we can hear or they can be heard on the recording. And that's it. Thank you as always for allowing me to speak.
Did we not cover alcohol once?
So I think we've talked about getting microphones.
Okay.
There's
We
some,
could have them.
well, there's,
We have. Thanks.
That leads us to the executive session. So can I get a motion to go into executive session to consider the discipline of a public employee?
I'll make a motion.
I will second.
No discussion.
No discussion.
We're just doing it. Just doing it. Will you take roll, please?
Mrs. Leskowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Donahue?
Yes.
Mrs. Kipling?
Yes.
Official meeting at 8:28.
Pretty good.
Start keeping a leaderboard.
Not too many.
I think that's our best regular.
I'm gonna keep up the rate.
What? I can sense my little.
Vinny, I'll see you tomorrow.